Hello and welcome to Want to Improve Reading Comprehension Online, our session on how to use the powerful built-in Immersive Reader in the new Microsoft Edge. Today's session is all about how the new Microsoft Edge supports students and teachers and makes their learning inclusive and accessible. My name is Aditya Mohindra and I work on the Microsoft Edge for Education team as a product manager. I'm so excited to share Edge with you today and demonstrate how we are approaching the browser for today's schools. Over the next roughly 15 minutes, we'll start with a brief overview of the new Microsoft Edge and why it's the right browser for your school's hybrid learning needs. And then we'll dive into a set of features in Immersive Reader. Finally, we'll talk with Chris Gerard from Lanark Grammar School about how Edge and Immersive Reader are transforming his classroom. So let's get started. Some of you may already be familiar with the new Microsoft Edge and perhaps are already using it. But for those of you who are not, a little under a year ago, we launched the new Edge with this brand new icon. This is the planned replacement for the old version of Edge, which had the blue E icon. With the new Microsoft Edge, we have partnered with the educator community to really identify and address the needs of students, teachers, and schools as they learn online. The new Microsoft Edge is your new browser for hybrid learning. With the new Edge, schools can standardize on single browser with world-class performance and compatibility. It's built on the same core open source web engine as Google Chrome, so sites and extensions that work on Chrome also work just as well on Edge. Edge goes even further though by also being compatible with older websites that were originally built for Internet Explorer. So this way you get the best of both worlds. But Microsoft Edge stands apart by taking that core open source web engine and layering the Microsoft security and innovation on top of it. Edge helps to enable hybrid learning by being available on Windows, macOS, and mobile devices with the ability to create school accounts and easily store passwords, websites, and extensions that are used every day during instruction. Edge also helps to protect students while they are learning online, which is especially relevant today during hybrid learning. Some of the most common attacks online are phishing scams and malware that infect devices. Luckily, Edge was recently rated with the highest rated protection against phishing and malware on Windows 10 in an independent study organized by NSS Labs. Microsoft Edge also empowers our students and teachers with useful features that help transform classroom time and lead to better student outcomes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. As we thought about how to best empower our students and teachers, we grounded ourselves in the idea that in order to do so, we needed to empower everyone. With that as a baseline and a guiding philosophy, Microsoft Edge has the most comprehensive set of built-in learning and accessibility tools on the web. In fact, educators have already been talking about this online. So next time you're on Twitter, make sure to check out #EdgeEDU to hear what they are saying. Now let's get into our feature, Immersive Reader in the browser. With Immersive Reader in Microsoft Edge, you can easily read content on web pages and stay focused in a distraction-free experience. This feature is built into Microsoft Edge natively. In this new Microsoft Edge, you can, in addition to opening entire web pages, you can also select a set of text on the web page and open that in Immersive Reader. You can read aloud and listen to your text like a podcast. At the same time, you have tools that can help you translate, learn grammar, focus, and a lot more. Now let's demonstrate Immersive Reader. So let's start by going on a web article. So when you go on one, you can see that there is an icon that lights up in the top right of the address bar. Clicking on it, all the distractions and irrelevant content from the web page is removed and you're only left with the content that you want to read. At the same time, on entering this mode, you have a bunch of tools that can help students read and learn better. Let's explore them one by one. First up is Read Aloud. Now, with hybrid learning, since most of the classes are digital, the screen time of students and teachers has also gone up. So with Read Aloud, you can actually sit back and relax and have a podcast-like experience to hear the entire article in natural voices. Let's check it out.
The Uncertain Heavens, Christian Huygens' Ideas of Extraterrestrial Life.
You can also modify the voice options and can select from a plethora of accents and translations. Next feature is text preferences. This lets you customize the article as per your preference. So if you want to make the text size smaller or larger, if you want to increase the text spacing, or customize your background. Then we have grammar tools. This feature is in particular useful for students who are learning English as they are reading the course content. Also, if you have students where English is a secondary language, this can be super useful. Some of the tools are splitting the words into syllables. So as you can see, all the words are split into different syllables. You can also highlight different parts of speech on your article and they get color coded. See, all the violet ones are nouns, all the dark red ones are verbs, and so on. The last set of tools is reading preferences. Now, again, coming back to the students who have English as their secondary language, and let's say they're not able to understand this first paragraph. And let's say that student is from a Spanish descent. So the student can actually select Spanish and say translate the entire page. They can then read this entire first paragraph in their native language and translate back to English. At the same time, Immersive Reader has tools such as Picture Dictionary that can actually help students visualize the words while they're reading them. So let's say, I toggle this on and I select a word called universe. Now, Picture Dictionary basically gives you a visual representation of the word that you selected that can actually help students visualize while they are reading the web article. The last set of tools is line focus, and this is in particular useful for those students who have difficulty focusing while reading. So let's say when we toggle this on, and let's say I select 3 lines at a time, the entire web article is focusing on 3 lines at a time. And you can keep scrolling and read and focus only on 3 lines at a time. Now, let's come to the last part of our presentation and hear from Chris Gerard, who has actually been using Immersive Reader in his classroom with his students. Hey Chris, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience about Immersive Reader and the built-in tools. So to start off, can you share a bit about yourself?
Yep, my name is Chris Gerard. I'm an additional support needs teacher from Glasgow, Scotland. I've also been an MIE expert since 2017, and I'm currently an MIE fellow for the UK, one of the MIE fellows for the UK, specifically for the Scotland region.
Sounds great. So, hybrid learning has upended instruction over the past year, and schools and teachers have had to adapt and react as quickly as possible to it. So what sort of challenges have you faced because of this change, and how has Microsoft Edge helped you address some of them?
I think the big thing that changed, obviously, we were all thrown into lockdown very, very quickly with not much time to prepare. And I think the big problem's been juggling everything, juggling all the different classes, and you were missing that day-to-day instruction with them and person instruction, and then also you're trying to manage your own children's education as well, because I'm teaching, so you're kind of teaching but also teaching your own children at the same time and managing their workload. So I really think it was what I really looked for in digital tools was to make myself as efficient as I possibly could be, to do things quickly, to get to things quickly, because time was key, and Microsoft Edge was such a good tool at doing that. So many different things that I could use the Microsoft Edge for that really made it so beneficial.
That's awesome. And I know you have been using Immersive Reader and the built-in tools that are there to support your instruction, both when you're with students and when you're preparing on your own. So how have you been using these, and what do they allow you to do that you couldn't do before?
I think the big thing with Immersive Reader and Edge is just how easy it is for everyone to access. It I always try and like tools that have accessibility by default, and the way that Immersive Reader and the learning tools are embedded in Microsoft Edge makes such a difference. So when I work with students, one of the first things, pretty much the first thing I always teach my students is how to use Immersive Reader, because it's such a beneficial tool. But also I found it really useful for myself personally during lockdown, where I'm having to read a lot of documents and read through and doing lots of training and different things, that I would just use Immersive Reader and just listen to it. It made it so much more efficient for me to listen to it than read it myself. It means I could go about and walk about the house and just listen to it as well. It made such a difference. But what I really like about Immersive Reader, specifically in Edge, is that it doesn't matter what kind of text that I'm using with the students. I know that they can highlight the text, right click and open an Immersive Reader. So that's such a game changer for me, that I don't have to think, oh, I don't know if they'll have access to text to speech software in the task they're doing. I don't have to worry about that. I just need to teach them how to use Immersive Reader in Edge, and I know that it doesn't matter what text they're accessing, they can just use that and they'll always have that support.
Wow, that's awesome, Chris. And those are some great use cases that you shared. So that leads us to the next question. What impact have you seen this with your students when using these tools?
I think the big thing is just that empowerment and independence as well. So many, again, we're all being thrown into lockdown, but a lot of our students probably don't have that adult at home that they're working, so they don't have that support that they would normally get in school. So it's really important to kind of show them these tools and show them how they can make such a difference. So it's really important that the students know that they're there, because a lot of people, when I'm doing a lot of training about learning tools and Immersive Reader, don't realise that it's there. They don't have to install anything extra. They don't have to pay a subscription for anything. It's embedded, integrated. It's accessibility by default. So it's really, really important that students know that and that teachers know that, and then they can share that as well.
That's incredible. As a final question, what tips or best practices can you share to help other educators out there who'd like to start using some of these tools in their classrooms?
I think the biggest thing is try it yourself and see the benefits yourself, and start using Immersive Reader and getting comfortable with using it, and then share it with everyone. Share it as soon as you understand it's there. Obviously the Microsoft Educator Centre is a great place to start, and there's an all about Immersive Reader section there that covers lots of the key features and things like that as well. But the big thing was obviously getting comfortable yourself using it as an educator, but telling everyone, sharing it with your colleagues, your friends, your students, sharing it with everyone. It is a completely life-changing tool. Just a couple of days ago, I was speaking to a student who I hadn't seen for, maybe 4 or 5 months, and asked him how he was doing, and he told me that using the combination of Immersive Reader and dictation, then inbuilt dictation features and things like OneNote, he's been able to write a whole book during lockdown, which was amazing. He was able to use Immersive Reader. So he was using just OneNote online through Edge, and he was just using Dictate built in. He was using Immersive Reader, and he's been able to write a whole book, this incredible book that just he would never been able to do if he didn't have those tools. So it just shows you that they can be so life-changing, and it really is to make students as independent as we possibly can. We always set them up with proper life skills, so showing them these tools can make such a difference to their lives.
Wow, that's amazing tips and very inspiring stories. So thank you for sharing all that with us today, and have a great rest of ISTE.
Great, thanks very much. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.